A warm welcome back to your aviation news recap. Today there is coverage on Canadian carrier WestJet. We move towards the Australian domestic aviation scene with new routes being launched and also international ones, and further developments at European plane maker Airbus as they record a massive new aircraft order. Beginning proceedings at WestJet, who have announced a new route as part of their continued commitment to offering what can only be described as a very solid summer 2024 schedule. Regina to Minneapolis has been announced with a daily service in a boost for the community. The landmark moment means that this is the first year-round transborder service since 2016 for Regina. Additionally, it provides an essential connection towards the Midwest of the United States. This service is expected to commence on April 28th with a morning departure out of Regina, and it will arrive back into Canada in the early afternoon following a 1:15 p.m. departure from Minneapolis. The service announcement was celebrated with numerous vital executives attending the celebration. WestJet's connection towards Minneapolis is specifically targeted also to aid passengers with onward connections. WestJet's partnership with Delta Airlines will highlight the onward travel. Now the codeshare partnership extends to over 70 connecting destinations. All these destinations are accessible with a single stop from Regina, which increases customer connectivity better than ever. WestJet adds that guests can also access Delta's network thanks to a single purchased ticket. Bags can also be tagged to the end destination, adding a degree of efficiency with lounge access available for applicable customers. Over at Airbus, and well, even though the 2023 edition of the Dubai Air Show has come to a close, it doesn't mean that aircraft orders won't still be announced. They've secured a sizable contract for their A320neo family from leading aircraft lessor SMBC Aviation Capital. The deal was published on Airbus's newsroom and comes in a matter of days following again the conclusion of the airshow. An airshow is typically where manufacturers will look to announce key deals, thanks to the ability to obtain significant traction, both within the industry and also when it comes to media. A total of 60 Airbus A320neo family have been purchased by the lessor, and as a result, it has brought their own total to nearly 340 purchased aircraft. Thanks to this latest commitment, SMBC Aviation Capital says that they will see continued deliveries through the decade's end. Airbus and the lessor believe this will only enhance their long-standing strategic partnership. SMBC Aviation Capital is owned by a consortium of esteemed Japanese institutions and has headquarters in key international markets. Their portfolio of aircraft comprises of 453 planes, and these are deployed to over 100 airlines across 50-plus countries. Therefore, while this order is for a lessor and we don't have too much information on the direction of where these aircraft will head, they are very much pivotal to the long-term success of many companies that we take for granted. Moving to the Australian side of the aviation industry, Jetstar is continuing with a theme of network expansion, revealing 3 new international routes set for launch in 2024. The Australian low-cost carrier, part of Qantas Group, has announced it'll begin flying to Singapore, Phuket and Bangkok, all from Perth in Western Australia. Jetstar says it'll open a new pilot base in the city where 60 employees will be based. This will also include 4 aircraft from its most recent fleet type that has been delivered. We're talking the A321neo LR. Adding the A321neo LR has actually been essential to Jetstar launching these new flights across Australian cities, and announcing them too. As a result of the new deliveries, pressure has been eased significantly on its Dreamliner fleet, which had in the past been taking up the bulk of the international routes and workload. The airline will now be able to offer even more flexibility and options when flying to Southeast Asian destinations thanks to these upcoming launches. A launch of 3 new services and a focus in Bali follows Jetstar saying they carried more than 400,000 customers in the past year between Perth and the popular travel region. The addition of the A321neo LR is definitely worth taking a look at. Jetstar acquired its first unit in 2022, and since delivery, the plane plane has arrived in numbers and has been hugely pivotal to launching new services. The initial order of 18 A321neo LRs will be all delivered by the end of 2024, per Jetstar's latest guidance, published in August of 2023. As a result, the fleet at Jetstar will develop significantly, offering more flexibility and better fuel savings. Jetstar quotes the Neo as up to 50% quieter than the existing CO variants that they operate. These CFM LEAP A1 engines also burn up to 20% less fuel than the previous A321 generation. The Australian airline has therefore been able to massively improve its efficiency across the board, which should benefit them for decades. Jetstar has also been able to launch several new services since welcoming delivery of the aircraft. This has included notable expansion even as far as Tokyo Narita. Looking ahead, this will only grow with the upcoming edition of the A321XLR. Also, the remaining A321neo LRs will continue to be delivered, allowing the company to have many more possibilities regarding their route network. Staying within Australia but moving over to Virgin Australia, they've announced service to Uluru in the Northern Territory will begin in June of 2024 as part of continued efforts to focus on their own domestic network. The Australian carrier says it will launch flights to Uluru from two important cities in the country, that being Brisbane and Melbourne. Virgin's Uluru service originating in Melbourne will commence on June the 6th, 2024, and operate 4 times a week. Service departures will occur on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Meanwhile, its Brisbane flight will launch 1 day later on June the 7th, 2024, with a service thrice weekly on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Tuesdays. Previously, Virgin Australia operated Uluru flights out of Sydney. However, this was before the pandemic. Customers, they say, that are in Sydney wishing to fly to the Red Centre will be able to soon do so with Virgin via these connections in Melbourne and or Brisbane. The Melbourne to Uluru service will offer 3,100 seats during the peak season per month. Brisbane will see 2,300 seats per month in each direction. The Virgin Australia fleet has certainly developed through the years significantly, but also reduced. You may recall prior to the global pandemic, the airline was flying wide-body aircraft as far as Abu Dhabi and Los Angeles. This included your 777s and A330s. However, following a move to administration and a massive fleet restructure, the airline has consolidated to really using the 737 series across its network. This includes the most recently delivered 737 MAX, but most importantly, and the biggest reliance, is on your 737NGs, with 72, for example, -800s remaining in service. It'll be interesting to see how the arrival of the MAX helps Virgin Australia looking forward, and whether they'll ever venture further in terms of international flights. Thank you very much for tuning into this aviation news recap. I really appreciate the support. Please do take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time.